sir with us. He is one of the GD in Android from Kenya. And Harun sir, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Harun Wangereka, based in Nairobi, Kenya. Currently, I'm an Android engineer at Apollo Agriculture and also a Google developer expert for Android. And apart from that, I also love doing a lot of community work and also doing a lot of content creation. I'm a writer at Codeco, where I've written like a couple of articles and also written one book as well. And I'm happy to be here. Looking forward to this session and sharing more.
Yeah, awesome. Might be our audience will able to learn a lot of things from you as well. So the first question that I have from our audience to you. So would you like to share your journey, like how you started coding and what make you to introduce to coding as well?
Yeah, sure. My first introduction was, I think, back in campus. So I enrolled for like computer science course, and I think we had like a program we had like a chairman of the whole school, maybe overseeing the whole activities of the school as well. So he was called Marvin, who organized like a program to teach people, or maybe if people who are joining like computer science in their first years, to teach them introduction to programming so that they can be well prepared for their course as well. So that was like my very first time to maybe learn programming. So I learned Java and C, just like a introductory level. The thing that maybe was maybe appealing to me is that by that time when he was like trying to introduce us to coding, I think he was like working and still like studying at the same time. So he was like, if you be able to like get maybe skills in programming and then better your skills, you can be able to work and also pay your school fees and also pay maybe some of the areas that you or some of the bills that you need to pay while in campus. So I think that was like something that caught my eye so much, because I think when you're in campus, you also want to be at least somehow independent from not depending on your parents to maybe pay for everything for you. So that was started that, and then learned that, played after that, played with like 1 year with web programming. I had this book, tried to read it, never got past many pages. uh, so that was like a sad story. That is like my beginning and end of my doing me web programming or any web technologies. uh, Around that time, we also had this thing called Intel XDK and also Cordova, which was used to develop cross-platform apps. I learned it through like an event where we had like Intel people coming to teach us or about the products and how you can leverage them to build Android apps as well. So it was quite interesting to see that. So what it did, you can drag and drop elements and then build your app in like 2 minutes, 10 minutes, or 15 minutes, because you could text, images, and all that. So it was like quite interesting to be able to see how you can quickly prototype apps. So that was my first interaction with any mobile app. We used to like make a number of those apps back in campus for birthdays, and also in case you need to wish someone like a special Valentine, you can quickly drag and drop messages and all that, images. So that was back then, and then so that was like sort of cross-platform. It didn't have like a lot of possibilities, or you could not be able to do like a lot of things with the cross-platform, because I think it was just displaying text and images and also videos. Uh, Also, during that time as well, after playing around with Cordova, we had like another hackathon as well, where someone came and also did like a whole app in Java. And I was like, the app was like, it was like a game app sending SMSs to like someone. And I was like, this was very interesting, the power you can do with native applications, because I hadn't at that time interacted with any native code or native application at that time. So it caught my eye, and I was like, I think this is the way I need to go, because I was used to very simplistic apps which just displayed like images and also text. And I was like, if you can do this, I bet like you have like the real power of maybe doing everything that you can. So I think that was like when I got interested into mobile programming or Android in general. Started with Java, continued all the way to where I am currently, switched to Kotlin, and also it's been like a long journey, but that is like how I initially like started. But just to give like a brief overview.
Yeah, exactly. Really inspirable. Like I would
Yeah,
say, like through coding, we can solve a real world problem by
yeah,
coding in a small screen, like computer and all. Like it's
yeah,
basically the thing that inspired me to code. So
yeah.
my next question from you is, what makes you to start with Android development? Any
Uh,
specific side bag that you want to share with us?
can you repeat the question? I didn't get the question clearly.
Like, what makes you to start with Android development? Why not web development and any other tech stack?
Yeah, I think like in my journey, like I've just like explained why I never got to do like web. I think I tried learning web technologies, but I think they were not as that exciting as how I found like the mobile apps programming or developing mobile apps that like interesting. So that was like the first reason because I think I tried like a number of trying like to read a book, never got to complete the book, and also trying to do projects and never got to complete them. So I like realized that that's not like my interest area. When I tried the Intel XDK thing, I think it was quite interesting. And then once I learned about native applications, it was also like a way interesting, even more interesting. So my interest got like aroused. And then after that, I think I've never looked back because I always believe in just settling in one technology, just to master it, and then in case I ever need to diversify in the future, I'll diversify. But for now, I think I stuck to Android and Android alone. The other thing is that I'm not like open to learning new things at times. So once once I chose Android, I think it's hard for me to even go back and try to learn like a new thing.
Yeah, exactly. The
Yeah,
same happens with me. Like I started my journey through hackathon and then I feel interest in Android and then I haven't looked back and then started learning more deep into Android.
yeah.
So would you like to share your journey, like how you started your journey in Android, like what type of platform and any specific course that you have followed in early stage when you're just starting out?
Yes. When I was starting, I think started off with Java because it was like a while back before even Kotlin became like the first like language for developing like Android apps. So that was back then. You like did Java for like 2 years, and then Kotlin was the new thing or the new kid in the block. Also tried to shift like way earlier before because I think it reached a point that if you need to do like something, most of the resources were in Kotlin and you could not find anything in Java. So I was like, I think this is like a sign from the universe to for me to like shift to Kotlin as well. I think that was like a while back, like 4 to 5 years back. So it's been quite a journey. But I think I started with Java and also learning on the way and also continue like improving on the way because I think each time you develop like an application you learn a different set of technology because like the requirements are not the same. At times you require like an app to do maybe map specific like functionalities, others like maybe just fetching like a list of things from the API. So from time to time I've been able to learn through developing like a number of apps, all different apps across the my whole career.
Like you haven't like I would say like you haven't learned from any specific course, you just
In
started
terms of
development and then go ahead by building different projects.
I've never done like apart from doing like computer science, I've never done like a specific mobile related course. What I did is I did like an internship, an Android one. I think still it's still with the same person that taught me like C and Java, Marvin, that I mentioned later. So he was like my supervisor and taught me like a ton of things in Android, especially related to maybe designing apps that can work across like 4 people in terms of UI UX because I think you can maybe have an app but people don't use it because I think the UI UX doesn't like work as that much. So I was an intern for like 4 months. So that was like the main the place where I learned a lot regarding like maybe how do you design apps, how do you save things into maybe local storage, how do you fetch things from the server. So it was like a whole new learning experience for me because I was very green. Remember I mentioned like I was just from like a hackathon where I learned like, oh, you can do these things in native, continued playing around for some months, but I never got to do like actual big things in terms of Android. So the internship was like a real eye opener for me where I was like, this is really changing my whole trajectory and also learning a lot of things because I remember like we used to have like a whiteboard where I could be explained most of these concepts which were very new to me or which were very unfamiliar to me. So I did that internship, and then after that, the other thing I did is I read a lot. I was constantly on Medium, trying to read what people are writing in terms of Android. Apart from reading, mostly like I'm a good reader, so I that was Medium, and also we have the platform that I write for because I previously knew it via reading their tutorials. So previously it was called Rewendalik. So they used to write like very good articles on Android. So I was like it was like another place that I used to maybe follow their articles and see how you do different things because I think the good thing with them is that it's like a step-by-step guide. So in case you're learning like let's say Jetpack Compose, they guide you like from maybe step one up to the last step. And that's how I even got to know like they are maybe needing like new authors. And when the time came for me to switch to Kotlin, there was a book by Antonio Leiva about Kotlin, so which I like purchased because it was like about time to maybe learn about Kotlin, and the book was very instrumental in me learning the basics about Kotlin and how you can take advantage of Kotlin features to develop like your Android apps. So those are my major key things. I've never done like any specific Android course, but continually across my career, I try to learn and also read a lot of books. Uh, and also the other thing is also trying to interact with your peers who also share like a lot of knowledge. Uh, and it is like helpful because I think they sort of simplify the learning process for you. If it's something you could have learned by maybe let's say 4 days, you learn it by like a day because they've already invested like the uh, time for them in learning, so they just like share it for you. So that has been the whole journey for me.
Yeah, really awesome. Like you started your journey through an internship. It's really awesome.
Yeah,
So, there is a question. Like lots of people here following you on Twitter. Lots of time.
yeah,
Like it's really awesome.
yeah.
And what it takes to become an Android developer expert, like Google developer expert in that particular thing.
Yeah, so that's a good question. So I'll also like explain, it's been like a journey for me, becoming like a Google developer expert. So along the way, as I'm trying to build apps and trying to learn a lot of things, I realized that you face some of these bugs that maybe you haven't seen someone write about them or you haven't found solution in Stack Overflow. I think the particular one that I faced was around doing like background services. So what I decided is, can I compile my experience into like an article and see how people react to it? So I compile like one article. I think it's usually like my best article till date because it has like a lot of reads and so on. Started the articles and then people were like, I think the good thing about communities, and I'll usually appreciate this, is that people are very supportive of whatever thing you do. If you write articles, people will share them, people will read them, give you feedback and all that. So I saw like a good reception and I was like, this is something I'd like to do more oftenly, write articles and also try to help other people in case where I have challenges that I've not seen people write about. So it started that way. And then uh, still around the same period, I also learned about communities. We had Android 254, which had like monthly meetups. So I joined their meetups and I was like, it was like a good place where you meet like fellow-minded people, joining monthly, discussing about Android and all that. And it was like a very life-changing moment for me because the university I was, because all this time I was in university, all this time I'm learning, all this time I'm doing all these things. I was in university as well. So when you go to the university, you don't get like a lot of meetups because it was like quite far away. And I was like, when I came back home and see this meetup, it was like, this is what people are doing in the like industry. People are using GitHub, people are using XYZ to develop apps. And I was like, it was like for me, like a life-changing moment. And I was like, I also like to contribute to other people. That is like how I started, like by giving talks. I think my first talk at Android 54 was just highlighting I think the new announcement that at Google I/O, and I started that. It became to transition from me giving sessions and also to me organizing the meetups from just recognition from the meetup organizers at that time, who also have been instrumental in my journey becoming a GD. So I think all of these things, what I learned, they bit by bit, they built the process for me becoming a GD. I started organizing meetups, and also that was Android 254 Kotlin Kenya monthly meetups, doing a lot of sessions, both in Kenya and also trying to go East Africa and giving like sessions as well. And also in campuses as well. We had like these things where we used to do like tech tours in universities, trying to, because we've seen like we have like a huge gap which between like what is being taught in computer science and what the industry requires. So we also decided to do like these tech talks. All these things in general came up to be the things that maybe are needed from like a GDE. And I started doing them early. And one thing is because I love just giving back to the community, and also the same way I was helped by different people in my career, the same just giving back to people and also ensuring that we have people upskilling themselves. Yeah, so that was the whole story. And the real GD conversation started in like, that was 2021. And it was just like a group conversation, and someone recommended me. I think he's a good friend of me called Juma Alan. So he was like, I know a person who does a lot of community things, who can be like a good GD candidate. And when I was called by the people, like the Google team in Kenya, I was like, yeah, we can try applying the whole process. And so like you have to write a community CV. That is like a thing that they require for you. And a community CV, I think, remember all these things that I've mentioned: writing articles, also giving talks, organizing communities, and also we have like a range of activities. It's not only those ones, because I think we have other GDs that have become GDs by submitting a lot of bug reports, others who are doing like a lot of video recording, a lot of podcasts. So all these things that you do for the community, you have like a community CV, which you just list your activities that you're doing and the impact that you've done. So let's say you went to speak to like an event. You have to say like, this was like maybe 200 people, maybe 50 people, or even 10 people. It doesn't have to be the multitude of numbers. Uh, so yeah, that is like whole thing about community CV. I had to write one, and by the time I was writing, I realized that I had like a lot of things, a lot of articles here and there, a lot of presentations, and a lot of community organizing, which in in all contributed to me being a GDE. I think, yeah. So if you want to become a Google developer expert, I started my story back with that backdating, because a lot of people like want to become Google developer expert, but don't know what it takes. And also, once you become a GDE, you also continue doing a lot of these community activities. So you don't do them to become a GDE. It's rather the other way. GDE think find you, like when you're doing these things, you find someone will at one time or the other will recognize you. Because as I said, I was just like it was like a group conversation. Someone was like, I think Harun can make a good GDE. So I find it like a lot of people, if you do like all this community contribution for you to become a GDE, it can be like the wrong motive, because even after you become a GDE, there is this thing where you have to track your monthly activities, what have you, or yearly activities, in case like maybe you have done a presentation, you go to submit. So if it's not something that you love or something that you started early on, it can be boring for you, because you did maybe something to become a GD. So That's why I tell people like it's like a journey. Find whatever that suits you, because I think uh, people don't try like to replicate what maybe another GD has been doing. So maybe you've had like I write a lot of articles, maybe books and all that, and you start doing that to become a GD. And along the way, find that maybe writing articles or maybe writing books or maybe doing videos or podcasts is not your thing. So you have to find like the content creation or whatever community contribution that perfectly fits your personality as well, so that it becomes, even after you are a GD, you continue like making that impact to the other community, because I think it's just like a recognition for the amazing work people are doing out here. Yeah, I'm not sure if that answers.
Yeah, it's totally like I'm lost in your story. It's really inspirable. And the second question that we have from most of our audience is how you become an Google developer expert in Android. Like, what's the procedure for the same, and like in much
Okay.
detail?
Yeah, so after you do like all this, so they require like all these community contributions for like a period of time. And so for you to be maybe to start the whole, it has like two interviews, like or maybe three if you count. We have like the first step where they check your community contributions and then say, well, are you eligible to be like a GDE? So all these things that you've done over the years, you just submit them on a portal, and then they evaluate, are you like skilled enough, or are you doing enough to become a GD? And then if you pass that step, the next step is usually like a community interview. The community interview is basically asking you what you do for the community and why you do it. So they just gauge to see if you're doing it for the right reasons, or if you would be like a good GD candidate. So mostly it's maybe what have you done for the community, and all that. After you pass that, the other interview is usually like a product interview with someone from Google in the technology that you're doing. So for example, this case is Android. You'll find that you'll maybe be linked with a Googler to maybe ask you some questions in Android to see if you are really knowledgeable in the sector that you're saying. Because I think apart from maybe doing all this community work, they have to sort of verify that you know what you're doing. And yeah, that's why we have that like a product interview. And after that, it's just a confirmation that either you pass or you fail either the product interview. They usually give you like every feedback per step. So that is it. Those are the steps. And for you, maybe to even maybe start with the eligibility criteria, either a Googler has to recommend you. So for example, if in every country or region, we have like the people responsible for the GDEs. So they are the ones maybe responsible to adding more people and also identifying people who are doing like amazing people for the amazing things for the community. And lastly, you can be recommended by like a fellow GD. Like for example, if I know you and have verified that you're doing like a lot of work for the community and know that you have the necessary skills, I can also like recommend you to become a GD. So those are usually like the two ways that you can maybe start the process. And also there is another way. We have like another program called Road to GDE, which is, I think, maybe let's say you are doing like a content creation. Maybe let's say you are doing like podcasts like you are doing, but you haven't like fully met all the criteria to become a GD. So we have like a Road to GD where you are linked to like a fellow GD or someone to mentor you on how to become a GD. So it just prepares you. At the end of it all, you can come out of the program and apply and become a GD. And also you can get out of the program, learn new insights, apply them, and also apply at a later time to become a GD. Because I've seen like a lot of people who are beneficiary of the Road to GD program as well. Because at times we don't know where we are missing to also become a GD, because it's like they check like a number of things. So it also helps to have like a mentor to guide you through like a 3 months, 4 months period on some of the things that you can work on and some of the things that you can improve on to better your journey to become a GD.
So, sir, like if you become a GDA, so what exactly we need to do?
So if you become a GD, So number one thing, as I mentioned, you still need to keep on doing the community work that you're doing. It doesn't stop at you becoming a GD, because I think nowadays it renews every year. So for example, if I've not been active for the last 1 year, chance, and I don't have like a valid reason for me becoming like inactive, they can discontinue your membership. So that is one thing. You still continue doing the amazing thing. The other thing is that you get a lot of benefits from the program as well. One is getting access to other GDs in your region, country, and also what do we call it? The whole country, because I think we have like a general Slack where you can interact with GDs from, let's say, USA, Europe, and so on. And you also get access to Googlers, because I think they are also in the channel, and also they share some early access, maybe APIs, tool, and so on for you to give feedback and weigh in. And also, I think they have like travel benefits. So, for example, if I'm going to speak in a conference in, let's say, Nigeria, I can apply for travel and also get travel and accommodation sponsored for by the Google team. So that those are some of the benefits. And also the other benefit that is also like the work that you do or the impact that you do sort of seems to not be local again, but go to like an international reach. People start noticing what you are doing and also start maybe reaching out maybe for help, because I think after I was confirmed like a GD, that was on like is it one like 2021. I think I've seen more people even outside Kenya reaching out to ask either about the GD program, ask maybe how to become like a better Android developer, resources, and so on, which is also something that can amplify your career, because a lot of people are watching like what you're doing and also appreciating that what you're doing for the community. And lastly, you also get to a hand in the table to vouch for a number of things. For example, if you want like some people to attend like a event in Africa, it gives you like direct hand to the people who organize maybe let's say these events. So you can directly reach out to them and tell them, hey, we'd like. So for example, if I want to reach out to the Play team and tell them we'd like to maybe have a session about Play Store in maybe Kenya, it's easier for you to do that. I think, which for me was like a benefit, was a plus for me, because it's also good to have like these creators of these libraries or these tools and also some of these Googlers come in our presence to understand what maybe the development scene is like in Kenya, and also get maybe some of the needs that we have.
Yeah, awesome, sir. Your journey is
Yeah.
really inspirable. Like, it would be helpful if you can share different tweets on Twitter regarding how you started and all. Then people
Yeah.
get more insight from there and the resources as well for the
Yeah.
same. So, like as you mentioned, like the benefits we get if we become GDN and all. So, is this something related to Google? Like Google will give you some invite for working with their projects, or like a direct interview on Google for working there as a SD and all?
No, you didn't like get the direct like interview to Google. They only give you access to some of their products and also early access to maybe tools, and also in case maybe let's say we have like a library that maybe they need feedback on. Let's say Room, for example, in Android. They also ask Android GDs to also maybe come and share their feedbacks, their pain points, so that they can maybe use those feedback to also improve the libraries. Oh, remember the other thing is that GDs like do a lot of community work. So for example, if I interact with a lot of people and they give me this, they have these challenges in using library X from Google, I think they also give us that chance to give that feedback from the community to them, so that we sort of like that bridge, but we never get to work on actual Google projects.
Okay, great, sir.
Yeah.
So, the next question that I have from the chat, like if you guys have any question from the sir, you can ask in the chat. I will take one by one. Can you? Please share your yeah. So one of the question that I have from the audience, can you please also share your interview experience, please? Like any tips to clear the interview and all.
So I think so for my tips, I think it's be yourself and try not to like oversell yourself. So the other thing is uh, I also had like the same. I tried to reach out to a lot of people. So in my network, I reached out to like I think Frank, who had done the interviews before, to maybe try to give me like an overview what are the things that they ask or maybe for such interviews. And one of the things that he told me, like, be yourself. Don't talk about something that you don't know. So for example, if you know Jetpack Compose is a new thing that can get you like a GDE, don't go there speaking Compose and you haven't done Compose. Be yourself. So, for example, if you don't know something, just say you don't know. I think that was like all the preparation I needed to like do. The other thing is just having like your story like in a like order the story like how you started and till where you are, because I think they just want to see the consistency that you've been putting all along these years in trying to help the community and also help other developers. And the other tip is, apart from not saying things that you don't know, is be active in these communities because they also do like a background search. Are these things that you're saying, are they real or are you just making up things? Because you can't just make up things and then become a GD. So try to also be active in these communities, the local ones, in case you also get a chance, get to speak. Like I think nowadays with this whole like remote working and also you can be in a call speaking to people in a different country, it makes it easier. The more you can, I think you can speak to even other different countries, different nationalities as well, which helps to the whole process of you. But for the preparation is usually just that. Just pick your story the way it is, and if maybe they feel like you have like an impact, they'll consider you as GD.
Yeah, exactly. Making any false promises will definitely lead you in the interview as well. So the
Yeah.
second question that we have from Huggies is this position is paid?
So like you don't get paid by Google, but they give you the benefits that I was mentioning. So and the benefits are they're quite helpful in every particular stage in your career. Because I think getting like imagine getting travel support to maybe also connect with other developers in other countries is also like a good thing. And also you get invites to some of the Google events for example, Google I/O, Android Dev Summit, and for whichever expertise that you are GD on. They have like let's say for example Angular, they have like their Angular Summit. You can get invited to such events. The other thing is that you also get to learn a lot from other GDs and also other people as well, because as I am interacting with other people, I get also to learn, which is like a key thing in just becoming a GD and also continuing the work as a GD. You get to like learn a lot and push your career a lot. The other thing is that it can be career changing in that once you get like that GD title, it can change your life in one way or the other, depending on which stage you are in your career. So all these benefits, they apply differently to different people. And but all in all, I think it's like very beneficial to have that recognition because it's like a stamp of approval that this person knows what they are doing, and people get to also learn from you a lot. I think you also get to the good thing is that you also get to make impact to other people apart from your local community, because I think pre my GD part, I think I've done like events in East Africa, which is like two more countries. But after that, I think you get like the eyeballs to be able to also be recognized in another country and also get to talk to other developers in other countries and also make an impact with them, which at the end of it all, that is like the whole goal of it all, to just be able to help developers in other countries as well and also mentor them and also help them to become GDs as well.
Yeah, really awesome journey. So
Yeah.
Okay, I think the paid position part is really clear. So I just want to add one thing, like if someone see in your profile like you are working as a GD in particular tech stack, then he must know like you are the expert of that particular field. Then it will definitely help you in getting job and in that particular field. So it's also the plus point there as well. So I think any more question, guys? Anything else?
So I can say there was a question. I think at what point does a dev accept the title of being like a senior developer?
Ah, yeah.
So I think yeah, this is usually like one of the interesting questions I usually get. So it depends from company to company because I think different companies have like different designations. So for example, I can be like a senior in this company and not a senior in another company, which is correctly fine. So that is point number one. The other thing is that at times don't focus on these titles so much. They are just like some sort of like recognition. Maybe this is what level you are, because as you grow along the way, you can have someone who started like programming like let's say 2 years ago and become like a really better developer than someone who started like 10 years ago. So senior doesn't, maybe it's not like a qualifier by years or by anything. It's just the amount of effort you put towards maybe learning your stack or skills. And it can depend from company to company. But the one thing that maybe is a clear, maybe that gives like a clear line is that you'll find like for senior developers or maybe for like, let's say principal and also staff engineers, the thing that they work on are maybe complex engineering problems, not like the mostly the simple problems and so on. So the more you maybe tackle complex problems, that is number one. And also, if you are assigned like to lead a team of people, let's say I have like two other Android developers that I'm also under me and also I'm also trying to help them. That is like another key indicator in different companies that you're also responsible for upskilling other people. And also the other thing people like normally use is how can you be able to deliver like the company goals as per your role? Because I think at the end of the day, if you're working for a company, their aim is just to get the profits and also get their products delivered. So you as a developer, are you able to meet the company at that point without any struggle? So those are some of the key indicators, but it changes from company to company. So don't maybe get lost in this maybe title world. Just try to do your best every day and be consistent, because at the end of it all, if you're consistent for like let's say 3 years, that's a lot of learning. It doesn't qualify. Not title at times can maybe giving you like a senior title can take away something, or maybe giving you like a let's say intermediate engineer title can take away something which you've learned like the whole of 3 years. So I think titles are there for companies to maybe just establish hierarchy, and changes from company to company.
Yeah, like I really like your line. Like I just want to add consistency make a man perfect. So if you
Yeah,
have consistent in anything, then it will definitely pay you later. So the
yeah.
next question that we have, is it necessary to be a senior developer in order to fit the GD?
No, you don't have to be like a senior developer to become a GD. I think as long as you do the community part and also show that you are knowledgeable in your domain. So, for example, by showing is maybe writing articles, creating podcasts, creating videos, and all that. And also, it can be like we have one GD, which a Kotlin one, who became like a GD by contributing a lot of bug reports to the official like Kotlin team. So there were like a lot of them. Each time they release like a new Kotlin version, new library, he was like testing them, filing bug reports, and he got like that contribution. And one thing I learned from that is like every GD has like a unique story. It's not all, we don't all have like the same story like I have, like maybe writing and also maybe doing community work. So we have like different stories, and that's why I said like just be you and also do whatever thing that you feel like I'm comfortable doing and gives me like much satisfaction in doing. Because you can start recording video and realize that it's not your thing, but you are just doing it for you to become like a GD. So I usually don't recommend that because at times it can become like very tiresome if you're doing something maybe to become like to achieve like that title.
Yeah, exactly. If
Yeah,
something that didn't fit you, then leave it instead of starting it just for the sake of selecting in any program. It's really awesome
yeah,
point. So, like, I'm a college student, so I'm also eligible for applying for the GD. But if I do community work and help others and feel like it's something that fits me in a lot, so it
yeah.
would be that. Makes sense.
Yeah, and I
Awesome.
think the good thing is that who are always watching, I think you never know. Like people used to tell me this a lot when in my early career, in my early times, people you never know who is watching, and at times people who are fighting for you are maybe you're even not aware that they are fighting for you. So just keep on doing, and then I think nowadays it's very easier. We have I'm not sure if people have left Twitter here yet, but we have Twitter and other social platforms where you can share whatever you are working on. We also have LinkedIn from time to time. If maybe you are speaking at an event, you can just post on LinkedIn. I usually say like, so a lot of people usually say I'm not that maybe person to type to maybe share posts on social media, but I think I usually tell people to think of it as a way of branding yourself because if we met today, I really don't know what you do. But if I take a quick look of maybe one of our social profile, it's easy to gauge this person does X, Y, Z. So I think it's like an easier way of branding yourself where you continuously share what you're working on and the public gets to notice as well, and you also get like an audience because for example if you're writing articles we have people who will be waiting for your articles to read them. They might not be talking to you directly but they're your audience. So I think in whatever thing try to build like that audience which sort of helps you to uh, get like this content going, because I think for example, writing articles can be one hectic of a thing, especially to be consistent writing them maybe year in, year out. So if you don't have some sort of like a feedback mechanism from your audience, it gets tiring. So if you have people appreciating them by, it can be simple claps. You see like, my first article has like 100 claps. That is an achievement. I can write the other one and maybe get 200 claps. Keeps on going like that.
Yeah, exactly. Like people
Yeah.
think like creating content and recording videos is just a waste of time. But I would say
Yeah.
like if we create videos and all, then we will also learn in the go. Like if we create content and putting your energy and all, then it also help us in growing ourselves and because before explaining anything you need to be master of that.
Yeah.
It's really awesome session, sir. Like I personally love this particular session because I got to learn a lot of things from a GD itself. So, any
Yeah.
other question, guys? People going and sharing their content, like it's an amazing session. Thank you, sir. So, thank you for joining us, those who are joining us in the session, and also Harun sir for coming and sharing his insight. And hope you all got to learn a lot of things from this particular podcast. So, for making more such podcast, do subscribe us and join us on next Saturday on the same time, that is 10 p.m. So, have a great day, guys.
Yeah. Thank you for it was a pleasure sharing my story as well and sharing my insights.
Yeah, really awesome. Like, if you want to start your content journey now itself, just take a screenshot with Harun sir and me and post it on Twitter.
Yeah.
Like what
I
you
think
guys learn from the particular session.
yeah, the hardest part is usually like just getting started. Because I think that is like once you maybe write your first article, produce your first podcast, and your first video calls, you're good to go. So once you like that is the hard step, and then the other step is just being consistent in just doing maybe what you're doing. But I think the thing that motivates me a lot, and I see, is just seeing the impact that you create to the people that are maybe consuming this content. uh, and it cuts across. You'll find a lot of people saying your article helped me, your podcast helped me. And the other thing I realized that uh, there is always enough for everyone. So you just identify the gap. Maybe you love doing podcasts, and then you feel like we have a lot of podcasts being done currently, but you have like an idea to do things differently. Just try it out and then see how it goes, because that was like the other challenge that people usually ask me, like, hey, I've seen like we have a lot of people doing articles, maybe doing videos. How do I even start? How do I, like, just identify what is missing, and then can you be able to fill that gap? And then the other thing is, I usually find people maybe talking about maybe the language barrier, which I'd like to also say. uh, People say like probably English is not my native language, which is, it's not like the native language to lots of people, not only in different regions but like all over the world. So that should never be a barrier, because like just yesterday I had a friend who was trying the GDE program, but he produces content in French, because most of the people in their country, French is their first language. So you find if you go there, maybe to talk in English, you a lot of people will not understand. And one of the roles as GD is to make sure that whatever content that we are doing gets to the local people. That is like another side role. So, for example, if you have people speaking in French and then they cannot understand the tutorials that are being churned out in English, or uh, you have like a role to also make sure that your community also digest this content. So like he did like a lot of videos about Firebase and Angular in French, and it was like very impressive seeing like someone can do this consistently, and also people from their community get help in the language that suits them most. So never let language be like a barrier to you, because I think you can deliver content in whichever language that works for you, and whichever language that you feel will be of impact to other people. Remember, like Google is like a large organization, and you just try to help like people to maybe consume some of their products, some of their content, or some of their tools.
Yeah, really great point.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, guys. And if you have any question regarding like Harun sir also organize a event in Kenya, basically the Android conference. If you have any doubts regarding that, you can directly DM him on Twitter itself. I will put it in the chat itself or the description of this particular video. So
Yeah.
have a good day, guys. Good night. Bye.
Bye.